I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Life advice, rr@gmail.com. Okay, we get a couple here. People are a little worried about Cerruti's presence getting in the way of Kyle's presence on Life Advice, and I'm here to tell you, don't worry about it. We'll ask for Cerruti when we need him, but Kyle, don't worry. We're gonna be checking in with you all the time. I know Kyle. Actually, Kyle's like, I don't get worried about anything. Don't worry about it. Okay, because this guy does want Kyle's input. 27, live in Denver, 6'4", 240, 6'7" on skates. Okay, we haven't had that happen before.
Nice.
Pretty imposing, especially since I don't bend my knees when I skate. Thinning up top a little, but pulling it off. No better than a 7 out of 10 in my day-to-day life, but easily a deadly 9 in a suit. All right. Dated a girl in my friend group for a year. Got pretty toxic towards the end and got dumped about 4 months ago. All right. Look up ugly breakup in the dictionary and you'll find our breakup. 2 a.m., unannounced drunk arrivals at my house, drunk FaceTimes, awkward conversations with friends. I miss you text after sleeping with others, the whole gambit. Anyway, I'm from Park City, and yes, I do ski. Ex and I visited the family in June to meet the parents about 7 months into dating. It was the first time I'd ever brought a girl back to meet my family, so significant planning and thought went into the trip. It went great. They liked her. She liked them. Overall, I was very pleased with how it went. Shortly after that, we planned an end-of-the-summer van trip before the fall rolled around. Plan was to rent in Denver, drive through southern Utah, hit Moab, maybe even the Grand Canyon, drive north and finish up in Park City to say hi to the parents again. We hit a couple rough patches, though, and the trip kind of slipped through the cracks. Insert the toxicity. A few months pass. She doesn't want to try anymore, and I get dumped. Okay, so our man got dumped here, although he sets it up by saying 2 a.m. unannounced drunk arrivals at my house, drunk FaceTimes. Those aren't fun. Those aren't a good time. I rented a house out that I used to live in, and a girl showed up drunk, and the tenants were like, hey, can you just let her or anyone else know you don't live here anymore? I was like, yeah, we can. That seems pretty standard. I'll get the word out. Apologize. Okay. That brings us to now. We haven't chatted in a while. I hear about the other person, meaning her. All right. So often because of some overlapping friend groups. So our man here who got dumped, despite the fact he's pointing, so he hasn't told us about anything that he was doing wrong to get dumped. I don't know. Right now, we don't know who to blame, right? But there is overlapping stuff. He says he sees stuff on Instagram, Snapchat, et cetera. It turns out she recently started dating a new guy. Don't know him, but here they met skiing. And then he goes, parentheses, I taught her to ski, by the way. No, I'm not bitter. You're clearly making fun of yourself. But the fact that you see her skiing and you're like, oh, I taught her to ski. I'm worried about you here, man. All right. Then I get word she's in Park City with her new boyfriend in a van on the same path we planned for our road trip. I hear about this because she hit up one of my best friends from high school for recommendations on what to do. She's hung out with my best friend maybe 4 or 5 times in her life. Ever heard of Yelp? Anyway, a few days after I hear to post photo dump on Instagram of her adventure. All right. So she did a full blown, here was the trip I was supposed to take with you. Here's it all timeline on Instagram. And so our guy finishes this way. Listen, I get Park City's a popular ski town, but there's 100 ski resorts within a day's drive from Denver, and the only other place this girl has ever been to Park City with my family. So this is the most elaborate plot to get back. Oh, wait. So the question here is, so is this the most elaborate plot to get back at an ex ever invented, or is she just an awful person who didn't think this was weird? Thanks. I know you're not going to hear this right now, man, but you don't come off great in it. I don't know why you got dumped if she was the one that was doing some of these things. Maybe it was just one of those deals where you got dumped because it wasn't working out. And then one of the, maybe, but it doesn't say, you sound bitter. You do sound like you're bummed out. And I get it, man. You're bummed out. There's this person and you're looking at all of her stuff, which is a huge, huge waste of time. The quicker you can try to remove that from your daily routine, the better. It's a much, much easier way to go about it where you're like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to look at the stuff. But a lot of you guys can't help yourself. And I know early on I had a moment where I would check it every day. And it was the start of my day. And my day's entire mood would be based on whatever I saw or didn't see that day. And then all the games that you would play in your head. And so in this case, there's no games. There's no mystery. She's dating somebody else and she went to Park City. Park City's awesome. She went there with you. She wanted to go there again. You don't own Park City. And if she wanted to go somewhere else, okay, cool. But you got to understand, she hasn't thought about your feelings on any of these decisions whatsoever. The van idea was a good idea. Now she's doing it with somebody else. Park City was good. She liked it. She wanted to go back. She went with somebody else. You taught her how to ski. She likes skiing, so now she's going to keep on skiing. So I get where you're coming from, and I know you're bummed out about it, but all of this is a big waste of your time. It's just a waste of time. And it's not, I don't think it's a plot to get you back. Some people definitely do that, where it's like, oh, hey, I'm dating somebody, or hey, like I went out on a date with somebody and they tagged me within minutes. And I knew the whole reason they did it was just to hope that somebody else saw that I was being tagged in it. And I was just like, this is so fucking lame. But again, when it's an age thing, you got to understand that it's kind of the way the world works. So I would tell you that your focus is in the wrong place right now, because you're just being bitter about really petty little shit. Even though I'm not telling you to not be upset, like you're upset, you miss this person, you clearly wish you could have her back. You may not think you do, but the way I read this email, you wrote an email with a bunch of paragraphs about this relationship that didn't work out. So you're thinking about her and you're trying to find advice. My advice would be, don't take it so personally. I don't think it was to get you back, but I also don't think it was to fuck with you either. I don't. I don't know, but you know her, you said it was toxic, so maybe that's what she's doing. And I would just say, okay, if that's what she's doing, that's an even better reason to not want to pay attention to her if she's actually doing this to fuck with you on top of everything else. So, try to clean yourself of this. I know it's going to take forever and it's easy for everybody else to tell you when to move on and all that kind of stuff, but going and looking at all of her stuff and thinking that she planned all this to fuck with you or to get you back and all this stuff, it's just, all of it is a waste of time. I can promise you. It's almost one of the few guarantees in life. You will never, ever remove from this emotionally go, I'm psyched I did all that stuff. That was worth it. Kyle.
Yeah, I think you should unfollow her until you're actually totally don't care that she's going to go to Park City, until you can actually say that you don't care that if you saw her walking around in Park City with another dude. So just unfollow her. That's as simple as it gets. It's never going to be like a Yeezy taught me situation where she's going to be like, oh yeah, this guy used to date taught me how to ski and I'm really appreciative of it. Like none of that stuff's ever going to go your way. So just like, I don't know, do the best for yourself. And that's going to be not following her. And she's never going to acknowledge all the stuff you want her to.
That'd be a good t-shirt. Do the best for yourself. Like if she had gone to Mexico and you had never been to Mexico, would you feel better about it right now? Or would you find another reason to be upset about that? Be like, oh, Mexico's my favorite international soccer team. That's what kind of mode I think you're in right now, because you're pissed off about the whole thing. I mean, you even said yourself you were being bitter in it. So I'm not criticizing you. I'm just telling you, I know what you're going through, and I'm telling you to get out of it as soon as you possibly can and stop taking it so personally. Okay. This is a good one for Kyle here. Our man checking in, 23, mile time is 8:11. Okay. A little background. During quarantine, I never saw my friends. We would only FaceTime and stuff out of caution. We've all been friends since elementary school, so I consider myself a core guy in this group, and there's more than 10 of us. Good news, my state has recently lifted some restrictions. We all hung out this past weekend, got hammered, watched UFC fights at my boy's apartment for the first time in what seemed like forever. Bad news, 3 of my friends, while drunk on Saturday night, stole my car keys out of my pocket while I was passed out on the couch and took my car for a spin to go get some late night McDonald's. My friend's girlfriend, who was still up when they stole my keys, let me know what they did, or else I probably wouldn't even have found out, which is scary to think about. Shockingly enough, most of the other friends in our group didn't feel like it was that big of a thing that they stole my whip because nothing bad resulted from it, like them dying, which is fucking dumb, right? If it was their car, they would be singing a different tune. Like imagine if they did die in a car accident or killed someone else in my car. My mind is made up. I'm dropping all of these fools, not just the 3 that stole my car, but the whole group, since they are basically covering and making excuses for the 3 who committed felonies with my car. I wrote all of this because I need advice on how to unfriend them. Should I just ghost them? Should I get confrontational? Should I remove myself from our group chat? Should I tell them all off in the group chat? Should I remove them all on social media? Since I'm an immature 23-year-old, I fear of handling this the wrong way. And besides, this is an opportunity for me to grow up and be the better person in this situation. Any advice on how to handle this as a mature adult would be appreciated. Well, you're either like way more mature than anybody else. Now, let me get this out of the way. Nobody's saying what happened was cool for guys to get drunk and take your car and go do stuff like this. But, I've been a guy a long time, and I remember being a younger guy, and I remember, guys doing stuff to each other. And this would probably not be a friend ender. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Kyle, I would imagine you're probably going to agree with me, at least on that part of this, right?
I think you're right. And it's like, yeah, the guy who put his balls on your chin and shaved your head would have been upset if that happened to him. So totally he would, like he said, would be singing a different tune. But it's the same
Great
for
example.
anything.
Great. It's exactly the comp that we needed, and we got there. So did you yell at them? Because I guess I'm just trying to figure out. I would actually not, and look, I probably would admit it on a podcast, but I'm just telling you, you can trust me on this. I would not steal somebody else's car and drive drunk and then be like, look what I did. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do that. But I've had friends that would do it. And would I value the friendship more than being really mad about the incident? Yeah. If I like the person enough, I would. I'm a pretty forgiving friend too. That's probably all the years of bartending and all the stuff over the years where you're just like, look, sometimes guys make mistakes. This potentially could have been horrible, but imagine our emailer here already wanted to get rid of this group. But if you're 23 and you're yelling at them saying, hey, you committed a felony. I'm just asking, like, in a weird way, I think I'm pivoting from, hey, here's how to get rid of everybody, to being like, are you sure you're just good with telling these 10 guys you never want to have anything to do with them again? Can you replace this group? Are you a loner? Are you sure? Are you so mad that you're sure there's not one guy out of the 10 that you're still going to want to be friends with? So I'm not really asking this because, like, look, handle it however you want to handle it. It doesn't matter. You can unfriend them all. Cool. You can ghost them all. Fine. You could sit down with them individually and talk about it. And maybe you're the better person for all of this because you go, you know what? You guys are screwed up and I'm going to go ahead and do something else. And I want to be more mature. I don't want to be around people. I've actually given you credit for going ahead and doing that. But it seems like either there's more going on or there's more of a track record here. And this is a culmination of things where now you're at the breaking point where you're moving on, but you're still okay with saying to everybody else that was in this group that you're going to have nothing to do with them for the rest of your life when you grew up with them and were good enough friends that you couldn't wait to hang out with them just a weekend ago. That all seems weird to me.
Seems like a bit of an overreaction. I think you're well within your rights to get confrontational with those guys and be like, listen, that's never going to happen again, drunk or sober. If you still don't feel like it's a big deal, like, we have a problem here. But I think that's probably what you would do first, right? And if they're shitheads about it, then yeah, fuck them. But I don't know. Maybe they would be a little remorseful now that they're not. I think everyone's afforded a mistake, even if that could have been dangerous and super costly. But I think, you should probably say something before you're just like, all right, cut ties. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they will care. Will they say like, yeah, whatever, dude, we didn't like you that much. That's why we stole your car. Or if they're going to go, hey, I'm really sorry. I imagine you're closer with a couple of the guys out of the group. So maybe the guys you're not super mad at that you feel like didn't think it was as big of a deal as you wanted it to be, air it out with them. But it depends really, man. I mean, it's kind of like relationships where the same principles apply with men and women to this all male group. It depends on how much they like you. Like, are you one of the coolest guys of the group or are you the least cool? I don't know. Send us back your rankings. But if they really are like, oh, we don't want to lose this guy in the group, then they'll probably step up and maybe make you feel better about it. And if you're the least cool guy in the group, they're just going to go, whatever, fuck them. But I don't know. It's just an email. I don't have those answers. Okay, different dilemma here. Our guy is checking in. He's 23. We're going to leave it at that. He sent us a bunch of lifting numbers, but he said, don't be too impressed with those numbers. And I was like, all right, okay, fine. It's good. They're good numbers. All right. So back in high school, I was a good athlete, 4-year varsity basketball, soccer player, small town, Midwest. So take it with a grain of salt. I was always athletic enough to get away with being just a hair over 170 pounds. I've always struggled with being really skinny and never having any muscle. I always looked at my friends around me and think, what the fuck are they eating to look like that? Later, I found out they were all on D-ball. Anyway, steroid. Anyways, after high school, I went to my local college and still was struggling with being skinny, but now I no longer played sports, so I struggled even more because I always relied on showing people I was athletic to compensate for being skinny. Typing that out makes me realize how stupid it sounds, but hey, I was 19. Hey, man, you're talking to the exact same guy right now. So I was the exact same way. I hear you, man. I hear you. Anyway, I started getting really into weightlifting. I read anything and everything I could about it. My progression was one I assume many go through. I started with all the bodybuilding type lifts and technique that eventually, through reading and talking to actual certified people, started doing more progressive plans that I could monitor progress with. Around a year in, I was still really skinny and ended up taking a round of steroids. So I didn't feel great about it. I've always made fun of people on roids, but I just wanted to make the progress go quicker. I weighed 185 at the start, and in 3 months of it, I was up to 210. I couldn't have been more fucking obvious what I was doing, but I finally felt good about myself. This was 2 years ago now. I haven't taken anything since, and I usually sit around 215, 225. Side note, total hardo about lifting and eating, track calories and all the shit. Anyway, oftentimes at gym, people will ask for advice on how to get bigger and stronger. I feel like a fraud when telling them what to do. I know I cheated and it really bothers me. If people ask me directly if I've taken stuff, I do not lie and tell them. Wait a minute. So let me read that again. I know I've cheated and it really bothers me. If people ask me directly if I've taken stuff, I do not lie and tell them. Oh, okay. So all right. I guess my question is, should I be more open to people so it'll help ease my conscience about what I did when I was 20? Thanks and love the pot. Honestly, people are going to hear me read that email and then want to do something. If you went from 185 to 210 in 3 months. So that actually, maybe I shouldn't have read this one. I get it. I remember being 19 and I was going to take steroids. Me and another guy that was on one of the teams at school were like, let's do it. And I was like, fine. He didn't need them at all. I was just skinny and was sick of it. I fucking hated it, man. I hated it. And I was going to do it. And I talked to the guy about doing it and getting them. And I just didn't. I don't know. For whatever reason, I couldn't bring myself to actually do it. I didn't buy them. I talked to the guy, said, hey, I'm going to do it. And then I didn't follow up. And we do follow up on the things that we really want to do, right? Good or bad, we will follow up on those things. And there's a lot of stuff that we'll talk about that we want to do. And then we just sort of never follow up. And then we realize, you know what? Either I'm lazy or I'm distracted, or that was something that I actually, when it came down to making that decision and doing the thing that I thought I wanted to do, I didn't want to do it. So I think you should take it easy on yourself here a little bit. I've never taken anything. And I thought about it. I convinced myself I was going to do it, and then I didn't. I don't know. I just didn't. I think I told one of my good friends, he was making fun of me. He's like, dude, you're going to do steroids for what? You don't even do anything. And I was like, fair. I didn't think I wasn't even really working out. Actually, now that I think about it. So he should have made fun of me. The other guy, he was just like, hey, let's do it. And I was like, oh my God. And then, it was kind of funny because a couple guys were like, those two guys are going to do it. They're like, one guy definitely doesn't need it. And I was the other one. So what are you really battling with here? Feeling like a fraud because you found out other guys that were jacked were on something when you looked up to them? I mean, I had the same kind of thing happen too. There was this other big guy that I looked up to, helped me out. And then I remember I had this moment where I found out he was in all sorts of stuff. And then I was upset about it. And then I was like, what? Are you really going to be that upset about this? Was he supposed to open up to you and tell you immediately? So I wouldn't be in a hurry to start telling everybody, oh, actually, hey, man, I used and I did one cycle and this is what I did. And this is how I got bigger. I don't know that I'd want to share that with just anybody. So, I mean, what you can always do, which is always kind of funny. I'll think about like really big guys at the gym. If you started talking to them and then you're kind of talking about different stuff, and every gym has like a couple of their big guys. And then you'd be like, a couple boosters, too, some B12. And then they'll make like an eye, they look with their eyes and they go up and they're basically like, I'm on everything. And we're like, yeah, I could tell. I could fucking tell you're on everything. Your eyeballs are still red. I would just take a deep breath and not be too hard on yourself, because I get what the most important thing in your life at that point was, I don't want to be skinny anymore. And then of course there's, I don't want to go any further without saying it, in certain elements, it could be really tough for you health wise. I think we all know that if you just did it once in moderation for this, again, I don't want to be held responsible for anything because I don't understand all of it, but I just think you're being way too tough on yourself. I don't think you have to feel like you have to tell every single person that sees you with some decent size on at the gym, whenever anybody asks you for help, that you have to start with like, okay, well, I did do this cycle once when I was 20. I just don't think you need to do that. And, I would stop beating yourself up for it. So there you go. Kyle, any steroid stories?
No steroid stories, but if you're considered as a mistake, like I said, I think people are afforded mistakes. I'm definitely not going to tell everybody about my mistakes. There's some that'll never see the light of day. And you can consider that as one of those. So, you know what? Think about this. Is Julian Edelman a fraud? Is Diego Maradona a fraud? You're not a fraud either, dude. Continue living life.
Did the Edelman retirement break you up a little bit this week? It was an emotional one for you?
Yeah, but he retired a Patriot until he becomes a Buccaneer. But for now, I'm like, cool, man. I love you, Jules.
Yeah. Well, he reciprocated with that video. He got that video out there. And
A good video, I'd
you
say,
know,
as far as those videos go.
director's chair, dramatic walk up,
The exhale at the end, you know.
big exhale at the end. Yeah. All right. That's the podcast for today. We're going to do a bunch of draft stuff with somebody. Is this guy the most underrated draft analyst in the business? We'll leave it at that. That's the tease. So we will see you Friday.